with Mark Davis, Krista Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle. Hello, welcome back to another beautiful episode of All About the Balls podcast. It's going to be beautiful because a lot of shit happened over the weekend. A lot of shit happened tonight. But before we do that, it is Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. I'm Mark Davis, and I'm joined alongside just Christopher Gemeinhardt, but that's not just. That means it's going to be a special night because when Chris is in the show, it's always a special night. I'm Mark Davis. I don't know if I said that or not. Chris, I'm going to ask you, man, how was the 3-day weekend, Indigenous People Day? That's the new name of the holiday, the Saints. Like you saw your little handle there says Fire Dennis Allen. But hey, LSU back in the top 10. Good, impressive win over the Ole Miss Rebels. How you feeling, man?
Yeah, I had a good weekend. Went to a wedding. Unfortunately, watched a little bit of the game at the wedding, and then had to go home and got to the hotel and watched that overtime. But had a great weekend. Besides for that Saints game, great first half, fantastic first half,
amazing first half.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things wrong. Nice targeting call that was missed, but hey, that wouldn't have changed the game. So,
but I mean, he was in concussion protocol. Chris Olave.
Yeah.
I have no love lost for the Saints. I mean, I literally said as soon as it happened, I said, how the fuck was that not? That was not targeting. Yeah. I mean, he lowered his helmet. Like, it's not like he hit him in the head. I mean, he lowered his helmet. So, I mean, that's the clear definition of
lowered his helmet and hit crowned a helmet right there on Olave.
Yep, crowned a helmet, knocked him out. And, but Chris, I mean, I had a great weekend, man. You know, start Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Well, it's actually not Thursday. Saturday morning, went to Disney on Ice with the little princess.
Yeah, how was that?
You know, the first half. So the first half went Beauty and the Beast, so named after my daughter, Princess Belle, and then it went, goddamn, Coco. Coco was the second one. Never seen Coco, so I'm saying like no, the newer ones I have not those newer ones I haven't seen. Like I feel like Frozen's still new to me, even though it's actually not that new anymore. But nope, didn't know any of the hey, pretty cool show. And then Rapunzel came out, and I will say that was probably the best performance out of the 6 that I saw, because like they were like fucking in the string and they're fucking rotating. Yeah. Forget the name of the prince or whatever, or the guy that helps her and all that. But then intermission, had the shits, so I had to take my daughter to the bath. Yeah, I had a 72-hour bug, and I manned up, fathered it up. My daughter had someone said, what'd you do with her? I was like, shit, sit in the stall.
she sat right there.
She stood right there. It's me and her. She can't go nowhere. We come back out. We missed the very beginning of Cinderella, and intermission was not as long as I thought. They lied, or at least I was maybe longer than I thought.
It was a quick intermission for us.
Then the big pops of the night, the day came out. The buildings were erupting. The arena's out there on fire. Frozen comes out. I mean, I'm fucking pumped. I'm fired. And then Moana ends it with Moana and Maui.
Moana was a good one.
The Maui or Moana and Frozen stole the show.
I'm surprised they didn't do Toy Story for y'all. Toy Story was my favorite.
Yeah, I was a little upset. I was hoping to see Toy Story over maybe Coco. Never seen Coco, so I mean, it just don't look like I've never seen it.
I don't think we had Coco. I think we had Toy Story, and then Zurg came out and shot big balls at people.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
Toy Story was fun for us.
But no, it was a great day, and then we had to get home.
Yep, big game. Big game
Thursday. The old Red River rivalry, you know, the Golden Hat is back in Austin where it belongs. We're going to talk a little Quinn Ewers performance. It's just me and you, Chris. So we have a little more dialect. We actually can go back and forth. Yeah.
I blame y'all for heating up Baker Mayfield. I feel like he came out Sunday with a little bit of vengeance, and he took it out on us.
I'm starting to respect Baker. I'm starting to like him a little more and more. But I didn't like the shit he said where it's like, oh, it's glad I can live rent-free in Texas is mine. I don't know if he can recall. Maybe he's had a concussion or two. He's talked more about the University of Texas that I can recall since he's left the University of Oklahoma than anybody I've ever seen outside or anyone outside to play for Oklahoma in the NFL level. He always talks, and I'm pretty sure he did talk a lot last year after we lost Oklahoma. So to sit here and say we live rent free in his mind, or he lives rent free in our minds, no, other way around. He does a lot of fucking talking. So hey, we put that flag right on his jersey. Never seen a flag planted with a jersey.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought it was weird pulling out a Baker jersey.
I thought it was weird,
but
I remember he was always talking shit. And then Sunday happened. The Atlanta Falcons took care of the Carolina Panthers. I wish y'all would have won.
It was close for a little bit.
First 3.5 quarters, but it's a division game. Those sometimes happen. Even bad teams division, it happens.
Did you see the announcer that somebody posted on Twitter, and it was like the perfect announcement when they were talking about Andy Dalton was a great coach for Bryce Young, and it'd be great for Bryce Young to learn from a veteran. And before he could even finish the statement, Andy Dalton threw a pick six.
I didn't.
It was perfect timing.
When Sunday?
Yeah,
he didn't throw a pick six against us. He threw an interception. It ended the game. Major Charlie ended the game essentially. With that.
Oh yeah. It was about to be a pick six, but he fell down.
Yeah, well, he just ran.
Essentially, it was a pick six.
Yeah, it ended the game. And division games that happen. Say we're 4-2. I've called the season so far. Besides, like I said, the PA teams kind of fucked me. But hey, and then Monday went to the South Carolina State Fair out in Columbia, just about right across the street from the University of South Carolina.
Saw the Gamecocks Stadium.
Will be there November. I'm hoping to be November 2nd when they play A&M. I'm going to be wearing a Cox shirt the whole day.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck A&M.
Good game right there.
Oh, go Sellers. Oh, but
hey,
yeah, Chris.
Fuck the Cox.
Well, nope, against A&M, I'm rooting for the Cox. Fuck A&M.
You should wear. Hey, I'll send you an LSU shirt.
No. I want a big rooster. I want a big rooster that says I love Cox on it. I'm wearing it. I'm committed. I've already said if the guy gets me a Cox shirt, I'm wearing it. Like Pat McAfee. I want to be the mayor of Cocktown.
Gotcha.
But no, Chris, we're gonna have a big show, man. I was hoping that Doc might join us a little later. He might end up being around college time, but we have a lot. I know you're excited for college football talk. I'm excited for NFL talk. I mean, it's gonna be a fun show. No Diddy there, Cam. It's just the Gamecocks. The University of South Carolina.
The Gamecocks.
Chris, we're gonna start off right off the press, man. It broke around 10:05, 10:10 this morning. Devontae Adams, 11 hours after the game, essentially, just about 11 hours time frame. He got traded to the New York Jets. Apparently, he was already in the area because he's on the Pat McAfee show around 1 o'clock, 1:15. They had a very disappointing ending yesterday to the Buffalo Bills game, 23-20. Aaron Rodgers didn't call out Mike Williams, but they asked him a question. He said it was just the wrong route ran. He expected him to do that. And I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers went up to Woody Johnson and said, hey, pull that fucking trigger. Let's go. Chris, the question, though, is what do you think about the Devontae Adams trade where it's a conditional? It's a third that can be a second depending on if he makes first or second team All-Pro or he's an active member on an AFC or Super Bowl team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing of why the Jets got it was because the Jets picked up the paycheck for the rest of the year. Yes, so I think that was huge for the Raiders. I think that was big for the Jets. I think this is going to be big. I mean, it kind of takes away from what they were saying that they're going to now focus on the run game because now you have two big mouths to feed in the wide receiver room. Yeah, you have two ones. So now are they going to backpedal and be like, okay, now we're going to focus on the passing game, which hurts Hall. I mean, I saw the news break today and I cried a little bit because that hurts my Lazard. He was doing pretty good.
I still think Lazard's going to be fun. I think Mike Williams definitely took a hit.
Oh, Mike Williams is gone. I mean,
Jake was saying he's already being traded potentially.
Mike Williams wasn't even relevant before the Devontae Adams trade. And now
I think Lazard's going to be fine. It's going to be like, where he got Cobb, Lazard, and Adams the ball. It's going to be like the Adams is going to be that, hey, I'm in trouble. Who am I throwing to? Adams right there. Wilson's going to still do Wilson things. And, I mean, he makes Lazard look good. I don't know how Lazard plays good. He still just drops the ball with Aaron Rodgers, but I think Lazard's going to be fine. I mean, he's not going to do what he's doing now, but he's going to still be involved at a pretty good pace, a good route or a handful of throws. But
are we talking Jets-Bills game or no?
I mean, we could talk about that while we're talking because I was going to mention. I mean, the next topic was the Buffalo Bills, but because of another trade. But before we do talk the game, I think is this the best wide receiver duo? There's a couple
Possibly.
names. You have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Those are 4 that I'm thinking
it's
of.
definitely it's definitely up there. I mean, because like all the other ones, you have like a clear wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. These were 2 clear-cut wide receiver 1s on teams. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see. And like Cam said, chemistry matters. So I mean, it's gonna be huge. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams back together.
He says no though about the. What do you think, Cam? Though, where do you rank them as top duos? Though, what do you think about the wide receiver duos?
Not a ranked top duo. Who I'd like to see your duo. Who's the top duo then?
I mean, they're up. They're definitely in the top 3 or 4. Now you could nitpick how you want to.
Definitely top 3, I guess.
Because Devontae Adams to me is still a top. I mean, you know how I am. I'm high on him. I still say top 5, 6 receiver in the NFL. I really believe it. I mean, I don't think. I mean, yeah, he's slowed down a little bit. I still have a little issue with the offensive line. They looked a little bit yesterday, but Rodgers took some shots yesterday still against the Bills.
Yeah.
And I think that this is going to propel them a little bit. I mean, they're 2-4 now. I think they're still going to get to 10 wins. I think 10 wins, 11 wins. I mean, he's playing this week. They already said he's playing against Steelers in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, dude, that fucking video that Jake sent in Discord about, I don't know what wrestler it was in the fake wheelchair. That shit was funny.
Oh, it's Kevin Nash. Yeah, Kevin Nash. He was faking the leg injury and he just popped out of the wheelchair.
Yeah, that shit was funny.
Yeah, he's magically healed. So, he missed 2 games, man. He was probably rehabbing pretty hard.
He got with Aaron Rodgers today. They probably did a little getaway, blackout room, maybe a little shrooms.
You could tell they both looked happy. You could tell.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Like, I mean, you
go from Gardner Minshew to Aaron Rodgers. Anybody will be happy.
I think that they both just clearly missed, like, those 2 years. They were like, what the fuck were we thinking? Why didn't we just stay together? Why didn't Rodgers go to Las Vegas? Why didn't he just come to New York? Why didn't they stay in Green Bay? They're thinking, man, we could have done anything. I think that this team is going to compete with the Buffalo Bills. I think it's a 2-horse race still. I think Miami's not going to, even with Tua back, I think it's going to be a 2-horse race. I think, yeah, the 2 games back, but I think the Jets can come back here. I think that they can.
They have a big uphill battle.
They do, but they have some games that they can win. Not many tough games on the schedule left.
Nope, I agree with you.
Did you want to talk about last night?
No, I mean, I was gonna talk about your comment about Aaron Rodgers talking about Mike Williams in the big game. But I mean, I feel like Aaron Rodgers kind of blew that game away, because if you look at that 3rd and 15, he had Hall underneath that could have picked up big yardage, maybe not a first, but he could have picked up at least 10 plus and a manageable 4th down. Instead, Aaron Rodgers throws it, underthrows, interception.
Yeah, because like I watched that. I watched it a couple times today after I heard the comments, because I didn't catch the comments last night. I don't know what I mean. It looked like Williams had the corner open, but Rodgers said that. I mean, that was the throw. It was like, I mean, the corner was wide open too, unless you thought the safety was going to get there. I mean, it was a weird, because if he slipped when he came back too. I don't understand. I don't know if I believe Rodgers, but I mean,
I don't know. You always hear about quarterbacks are supposed to work down up. So I mean, his first read should have been Hall underneath.
Yeah.
So clearly, Rodgers wanted to take the deep shot.
I mean, he was open. Williams was open.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Chris, the other team that played last night, the Buffalo Bills, just hours after Devontae Adams gets traded, they said the same thing. They said, "Fuck, we need a receiver as well." I mean, Josh Allen's out here throwing to Keon Coleman, Shakir, Curtis Samuel, and they make a trade where they give a 3rd rounder and a 7th rounder in exchange to get Amari Cooper and a 6th rounder. And I believe that this is a great situation. It's a great pairing for Josh Allen. I mean, Chris, how do you feel about Amari Cooper coming to the Buffalo Bills to pair with Josh Allen?
Yeah, no, this is huge for them. I know Amari Cooper's happy. He doesn't have to get thrown by Deshaun Watson anymore.
Feel bad for Nick Chubb, by the way.
I do feel bad for Nick Chubb. I texted Paige the news about Amari Cooper, and she almost flipped shit. She's ready to jump ship and not be a Browns fan anymore, which a lot of Browns fans are not happy right now. But
They're
no, I
back,
mean, I
they're
think
they're
this
back
is
to that Cleveland Browns. We're gonna talk about that, but they're back to that Browns dysfunction.
yeah, yeah. But I think this is huge for Amari Cooper. I think this is huge for Josh Allen. All throughout this game and last game, we were talking about how they need that wide receiver, and they finally got it. So I mean, will we finally get to see the Amari Cooper from Dallas, or are we going to get that lackluster Amari Cooper that keeps dropping passes in Cleveland?
I think it's going to be like, because I was about to say the same thing. When he got traded from the Raiders to Dallas, obviously a little obviously younger, so he was a lot fresher. He looked electric with Dak. I think he's going to be fine. I think it's not just Amari Cooper. I think getting Cooper is going to open and create space for guys like Keon Coleman to thrive. It's going to create more opportunities for Shakir, who's actually been pretty decent. I think this actually helps Keon Coleman as a rookie too. You're going to learn from one of the purest route runners that we have seen play football. He's very crisp with his route running. He's normally good with his hands, like you mentioned. Obviously, not later, but or not later. Recently, I think just overall it helps Keon Coleman and Shakir, Samuels, whatever. And then the run game has been pretty solid too. So I think this is going to help Buffalo. I mean, I think this could keep Buffalo up there. And their defense hasn't been terrible outside the Ravens game neither for the Bills. I think this is a win. Big time for the Bills. Other teams are probably shaking their heads. They're probably thinking, man, that's all it took to get fucking Amari Cooper. Like, anyone could have traded for that.
Yeah, and pretty much, I mean, I would rank Devontae Adams over Amari Cooper, and they pretty much went for the same thing. I know Adams is a conditional pick, could be a second-round pick, but I mean, both of them going for thirds and then
I take Adams,
exchanging.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Bills could have easily went Devontae Adams.
I'm not sure how the finances worked with the Bills and the Browns for Amari Cooper. I'm not sure. I saw it popped up, but I actually didn't look into it, how much they're paying this year. I mean, the Jets just made the move. They said, hey, we're going to eat it. So, I mean, I think it works. I think both teams upgraded. I think both teams are going to be interesting. And it's going to be a two-team race for the AFC East crown. I don't think the Dolphins are going to come back. I think I said even with two, maybe they get back to where they need to be for a wild card spot, but I just don't think that they're going to thrive at all. It's very, very good fitting, Chris, for both teams.
Yeah, Bills got what we've been telling them they need is that wide receiver one, and they finally got it.
Drama-free wide receiver one, too.
Yep, drama-free. Hopefully, fingers crossed. You never know.
Well, speaking of drama, Chris, that's the Dallas Cowboys, right? They're a fucking disaster. I'm just going to say it. The Dallas Cowboys organization, led by Jerry Jones as the owner, is an absolute clown show. I understand. I didn't think they're going to be good this year. I had them at 8 or 9 wins, but I didn't think it was going to be this hectic, this early on, this crazy. Yeah, I was thinking the record was going to be similar to where it's at, but I didn't think that Jerry Jones was going to threaten someone on a radio show saying that if you can't do the job that you're supposed to do, we can replace you, which I thought the media guy did his job, which is to ask questions about the Dallas Cowboys. So shame on Jerry Jones, in my opinion, for trying to fire him. But Chris, this Cowboys organization is just a clown show at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if Jerry Jones doesn't sit back and face reality, I guess you could say, after a team tries to force an offensive lineman touchdown, has an offensive lineman line up on you on wide receiver, Dan Campbell was making a joke of that game.
Yeah,
if you don't sit back and you face the facts, something's going to happen. And a big thing about it is when was the last, I mean, was there ever a time in the NFL where there was so much toxic owners? Because think about it, we have Dallas, we have the Jets,
Panthers,
Carolina,
yep,
the Browns. There's so much toxic owners right now in the league. And look at what the Commanders are doing right now. I mean, they kicked their owners out, and right now they're 4-2, not big, but
yeah.
I mean they're competing
they're
right now.
young. Yeah, they're young team.
They're competing. And I think
Josh
they're
Harris,
going to be good eventually.
Josh Harris and Magic Johnson, they brought you could just tell a breath of fresh air for that organization. Something that organization's needed for probably a good couple of decades, honestly. So I mean, it was good to get Dan Snyder out and bring in Josh Harris and Magic Johnson, and you can tell Jaden Daniels is playing. I mean, we're going to talk about the Commanders in a few minutes, but yeah, a lot of toxic owners, man. it's sad, and it's not just Jerry Jones for the Cowboys, but he is the spearhead of it, like right now.
It's mostly Jerry Jones right
Yeah,
now.
but like the players aren't doing much better, but he assembled this team. He's the general manager along with being the owner. So he assembled this mess, and just wait till LeBron fixes the Panthers, Cam says. But shout out to Tom Brady too. He's a 5% owner of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Fucking horrible.
He's going to try. They're saying he might help pick the quarterback of the future, which means that mock draft next year. Yeah, mock draft will be a Raiders quarterback this year for me. Just spoiler for 2025. But no, I think that like Dak's not playing great. He's honestly not playing that great.
No, I mean, I just told Paige to drop Dak in fantasy.
I don't know where the connection's at with Dak and CeeDee Lamb neither, Chris. It looks lost.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looks like you see the sideline interactions between them. It looks like it's bad blood. It looks like you mentioned, Josh Allen and Diggs. There's like some drama going on.
And they just paid both of them.
Yeah, that's the bad news.
You paid both of them.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike McCarthy, it's an unknown if he's getting brought back after this year. I know Jake's calling for his job. I don't think he's going to be fired because Jerry Jones doesn't fire coaches typically.
I mean, you got to think Dallas right now is 0-3 at home. Like going to Dallas,
lost their last 4 at home, and they've also lost 4 at home playoff game too.
Yeah, and the games blowouts. Green Bay blowout.
Saints.
The Saints blowout. Who was their second loss at home? I don't know who their second loss at
Ravens.
Home. It was
Ravens. They brought it back. Yeah,
they did bring it back. It was close.
But it was a blowout. It was 28-3 at one point.
Yeah, and then Lions fucking.
Like you said, they played with them. Like they were like the Lions, kind of like at the jungle. They're playing with they're pouncing on their fucking prey, playing with their food, like Scar and fucking Lion King. Since we're talking Disney movies today, when he's playing with the fucking rat before fucking symbols. Yeah, before he fucking took that rat and distracted the rat. I mean, yeah, this is just a mess, and I don't know, man. I was looking at Jared Jones. Also looks like the Emperor from Star Wars. If you actually look at him,
I mean, the thing I have to ask you is like. I was thinking about it earlier today is that there doesn't really seem like a fix because they have all the players.
I know
to compete. I mean, the obvious fix is firing or Jerry Jones selling the team.
I hate to say it because I'm not wishing anything bad to happen to Jerry Jones, but the fix is going to be when Stephen Jones takes over the organization and Stephen Jones actually allows a general manager to take over. And obviously, we know how Stephen Jones is going to take over, but that's when it's going to be fixed. I think Jerry wants to win, but I don't think he cares truly enough like he used to in the 90s because he's built this team with the money. Yeah. They're worth $10 million or $10 billion. The average is like $6 million or $6 billion. I'm sorry. So they're worth more than the average. They don't care. They're making money.
Yeah. I mean, that's the obvious fix, but I don't see Jerry Jones stepping down anytime soon.
It's hard, Cam, for the rebuild because they just paid Dak and CD. You have 2 cornerstone pieces. I don't know how you say I just don't go how you go. And you have Micah Parsons. They're probably going to pay 2. So I don't know how you go to rebuild mode with 3 bona fide studs.
If Parsons even wants to get paid by them, Parsons does not look happy on the sideline. He doesn't look happy in his Bleacher Report podcast. People flaming him in the comments. Like,
yeah, it's a mess, man. And it's always good to talk about the Dallas Cowboys being a shit show. But Chris, there's something else that happened in that game. Unfortunately, Aiden Hutchinson was leading the league coming into the week, leading the league in sacks coming into the week, and then also still is leading the league in sacks. Broke his tibia, immediately had surgery following the game. Sucks to say because this was a team, or is maybe, depending on what we're going to talk about, coming into the season with high hopes for the Super Bowl. Chris, how does this affect Aiden Hutchinson or the Detroit Lions? Does it affect them? Are they still contenders, or are they just going to be a playoff team and no noise in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it affects them huge. I know they already signed Isaiah Thomas off the Bengals practice squad today, but I mean, Aiden Hutchinson's just one of those players that, like, when he's on the field, it doesn't even matter if he does anything. He affects the play no matter what. because the offense has to key up on them. The offensive line has to at least put 2 people on them, or tight end has to hit them, running back has to hit them. Like, it affects the play no matter what Aiden Hutchinson does. But now you don't have that playmaker on the edge coming off of it, which is huge.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, I think that the Detroit Lions pass rush, obviously, like, they're doing pretty good. I mean, obviously, like you said, that because they paid a lot of attention to Aiden Hutchinson. So now we're going to see if guys like Josh Pascal, McNeil, DJ Reader, what those guys can do. Like you said, Isaiah Thomas off the practice squad. I think that this is important on the corners now. The corners kind of been, it's like a roller coaster. They're good some weeks, bad some weeks. The safeties are phenomenal. I think the linebacker core is good there. I think it's going to be very important for the corners to actually live up to that. Carlton Davis, right? They traded for him. They fucking drafted 2 corners. These 3 have to step up along with the other corners to help that defensive line. Give them time to sack the quarterback. And Chris, I mentioned in the Discord chat, I understand he wants to get paid, but go give Hassan Reddick a 2-year deal. And then I said he might have to suck it up. Maybe Dan Campbell, he's a good players coach. Maybe he could talk to Hassan Reddick and his reps and be like, yo, come play with us for 2 years. You'll get paid. We have Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Branch, all these guys that are young, under rookie deals. We can win. And then that contract's up, he's done.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, it would
Max
be a
Crosby.
huge move for him. Max Crosby would be huge.
They don't want to give up their future, but guess what? Give up 2 first rounds for Max Crosby, and then next year you have Max Crosby with Aiden Hutchinson. Pay them both. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Or fuck it, man. You pay them both.
That's a defensive line I would not want to go against.
I still think that this team is a Super Bowl caliber team, even without Hutchinson. Maybe I'm sipping the Detroit Kool-Aid too much, but I still think this offense is phenomenal. I think this offense is electric. Like you said, Dan Campbell's playing with the boys on Sunday. They have one of the best running back duos, led with Sam Laporta, who maybe can get involved a little more, and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. I think this still is a caliber team that can win a Super Bowl worthy team.
No, they can definitely compete. They can compete, especially since the NFC doesn't look too competitive. I mean, you have your top tier teams, but
I think the NFC looks more competitive than the AFC this year. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think the Texans have really shined. They're 5-1.
No.
But the whole NFC North has a winning record. They look like the AFC North that we thought we were going to be.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. But no, I mean, it's a big loss though for Aiden Hutch or for the Detroit Lions. It sucks because he was playing. I think a couple of y'all had him as Defensive Player of the Year, too, and he looked like he was going to potentially be Defensive Player of the Year now.
I think I had JT Watt.
TJ, not JT.
TJ.
I know Allen had.
I know Allen. It's late.
Yeah, it is late. I know Allen had Aiden. Chris, a couple more topics before we move on to college. We're going to talk about it because it was the most hyped up game on our show. The Baltimore Ravens hosted the Commanders. We'll talk about the Baltimore Ravens first. They won a 7-point game here. Lamar Jackson, I'm going to say it. He's looked phenomenal this year. I mean, we can hate on him. I know Doc hates on him with his throwing. I think right now, if the season ended, he'd be the MVP. I think if Joe Burrow had a better team, Joe Burrow would be the MVP. But since he's on a losing team, he's not going to get it. Lamar looks phenomenal. I mean, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's actually passing the ball. I get it. It helps when you have Derrick Henry doing his fucking thing along with him too, running the ball. But he's top 5 in like every category.
Yeah, I mean the Raven after that 2-loss streak in the beginning to start, they won 4 straight. I think they're starting to finally figure it out. I mean the key to beat the Ravens is kind of what the Bengals did, and that's shut down Derrick Henry. I mean, you think they pretty much shut Derrick Henry down that whole game, Cincinnati did, until he broke that 50-yard run in overtime. But Derrick Henry's just an animal right now.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I mean, I think this is the best offense at the moment. Like what they're doing. Like I'm not saying it can't change. Like maybe the Jets get there, the Bills now with their trades, but at the moment through 6 weeks, this has been the best offense in football. It's been the most unstoppable offense. Even the Raiders didn't really stop them. They just came back. I mean, they were hot the first few quarters, but I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
I
I'm
mean,
impressed. The defense is getting better too. I know they have their moments where they give up big plays and a lot of passing yards. They still get to the quarterback. This is a team, though, man. I would not want to play at the moment unless you can somehow slow them down.
yeah, it's just going to be it's the defense that's the question for me on the Ravens. But other than that, the offense is looking really good.
I know you're pulling for them to fall eventually because you don't want to hear
I
Luke
mean,
talk.
they can do whatever they want.
No, I mean, I defended Lamar last year. I said, hey, we can't hit him too much, even though he wasn't lighting up the scoreboard last year or the passing stats. Still couldn't hit him to the playoffs because he wasn't doing anything that was making me want to hate against him at the moment. I'm gonna be an unbiased fucking critic here. He's playing good and he's making us eat our words. Now, playoffs are one story, but right now he's doing good.
I agree with you.
And the team that they played, Chris, the Washington Commanders, I will say it was a very I was closer than 7 points, even though it was a 2-score game at one point. I believe the Commanders played them a lot closer than the scoreboard indicated. I will say I have a lot of props for this Commanders team. Very young. Jaden Daniels looks like a beast. I would like for them to get a better running game. I know Robinson didn't really. I think he got hurt or whatever. But
He didn't even play.
Yeah, he was hurt. Eckler, I'm not huge on. I think that the Commanders have a lot of hope going forward. I think they can still make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but the defense needs to be fixed for sure, and they need to just get a little more growth at the position players. Just a lot of youth, honestly. Just a lot of youth.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, the offense looks good. The running game, like you mentioned, I mean, Robinson was out. And the defense is just terrible.
Yeah, dude. But we all like expected that. We all like guessed that. Like it wasn't a surprise that they were going to be a terrible defense. Like Doc said, they gave up a lot of defensive players to rebuild, and now they're 4-2. I mean, Eagles are tied with them. Commanders still. I mean, do they win the division? I don't know, man, because Philly's got a lot of talent, even though they're run by a dipshit. I think Philly
They'll
still wins the
figure it out.
division.
Yeah.
I think Commanders could be a wild card team, though, which is good. I mean, hell, they could win the division. I think Dallas and the Giants aren't going to do anything. I think this is a two-horse team, a two-horse race as well between the Philly and Washington.
No, I agree with you.
Chris.
Washington's keeping it close.
Yeah. Coaches of names starting to float now. It's that time of the year where a third of the season are the way done, right? We've already lost one coach. Rest in peace, Robert Saleh. Doug Peterson, if he loses this week, there's rumors he could be fired. You have, like I said, right there, your little handle says fire Dennis Allen. He's a guy. What coaches are starting to get to that point of the season where by middle of November, a month time frame, you could see a coach fired quick?
I mean, listen, look, I'm getting pissed off all week this week because Saints are having these press conferences. Mickey Loomis is backing Dennis Allen up. There's one thing I beg, okay? I love Sean Payton. I hate that he left us, but I hope Sean Payton comes to New Orleans and puts a fucking dagger in Dennis Allen. And after this game, we fire him because he's a terrible head coach. The only reason that I would defend him was because of the defense he brought. And now the defense ranks 32nd in fucking yards given in a game. So he's not even bringing the defense. And I don't know if you saw the picture of Marshawn Lattimore on the sideline. He looks defeated. The players look defeated. The players don't want to play. He's not making adjustments. Fucking Alontae Taylor sucks. And then you have Kool-Aid McKinstry on the sideline just sitting there.
Doesn't Taylor have a lot of sacks this year? Which
he does have a lot of sacks.
He's pass rusher.
Dude, fucking terrible. Dennis Allen, get him out.
Damn, y'all, you guys are 32nd in total yards a game.
Yes. That was the only thing saving Dennis Allen was his defense that he brought, and now defense is terrible.
Damn, that is pretty bad. I didn't realize that, man. Like, that's pretty terrible. Because like you said, he's a defensive coach. I mean, I think that Dennis Allen, if he does make it through this season, I think he's out after the season.
He has to be out.
I think, during the season, I think both Ohio coaches are going to potentially be fired next month. I could see old Kevin Stefanski and
Kevin needs to be out.
I can't think of the Bengals head coach name for Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor.
I could see Taylor getting fired in the middle of the season too this year if the Bengals can't pull it together. Dylan, I don't think that Sirianni, which we're going to talk Sirianni any second, I don't think Nick Sirianni gets fired by the end of November. I don't think
he gets fired during the season at all.
I think they wait until the end of the season.
They'll wait till off season to fire him.
I think Howie waits because of the talent. Yeah. There's just so much talent, and they're not going to go against it.
Not even the talent. I think it's just the respect that Howie and Sirianni have for each other.
Yeah. But I can see both Ohio coaches fired. Chris, I mean, I can see. Damn, I'm trying to think of another coach. I mean, Antonio Pierce might make it through the season. He might be part of the outs too at the end of the season. Yeah, you're right. Doug Peterson got fired, but I don't think Doug Peterson got fired in the middle of the season. I think he was fired at the end of the season. So I think that's the difference between, like I said, it's like kind of like Mike McCarthy. I don't think that these guys get like the Cowboys and the Eagles. They don't do a lot of firings in the middle of the season. That's not what they do.
Yeah, they're gonna wait. Because I think the Eagles stay competitive enough to not lose out the rest of the games, you know?
Yeah, they fired him at the end. It was in January. The report was that he got fired. So for Doug Peterson. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I said both Ohio coaches, I can see being fired. I see AP getting fired at the end of the season. I think that's about it for maybe during the season. Some of these coaches I think are going to the Bills will hold on to McDermott to the end of the season too. Chris, but we talked about Nick Sirianni. What a dipshit this guy is. He is chirping at fans. First off, the rowdiest fans outside maybe when the Raiders were in Oakland, the rowdiest fans in the NFL are the Philadelphia Eagles. I've been to the game. I've been out there. It's wild. To sit here and chirp at them because rightfully they're booing you guys because you guys, I get it, y'all won against the Browns, but you won 20-16.
Yeah, to a 1-4 Browns team that has no offense.
And their defense honestly hasn't been that impressive this year neither.
No, that definitely is not. So
to sit here and chirp like this, the fans are going to get you fired because you're pissing them, because you're playing with fire, and you're playing with a fire that they're probably the biggest influencers as fans in the NFL community when it comes to how they affect the team. And you keep pissing them off, you're out the door very, very soon.
No, I agree with you. I mean, this team easily could be. I'm trying to do the math here.
They're 4-2 right now.
They're 3-2 right now, right?
Yeah, they had a bye week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're 3-2. This team easily could have been. They lose to the Browns. Could have lost to the Browns. Could have lost to the Saints. They could be a 1 and what?
Well, they could have beat Atlanta too. They dropped that. You can probably flip that one too, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So, I mean,
we won though. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, this team easily could have been a 1-4 team.
I just don't get it, man. You have all this talent. I'm not a big Jalen Hurts guy, but I still think he's decent enough to win games. And maybe I don't think he's the quarterback that people thought he was going to be with passing. I think it's the dual aspect that they need him to be. I just think you have so much talent here. I've been saying this is the team that Bill Belichick's going to come coach next year. If a coaching opportunity opens up, it's going to be this one.
Definitely not the Jets.
Yeah, he shut out. He said he's undefeated as a Jets coach.
He shit on them last night. So, unless he comes back on his word, he shit on them last night.
I don't think him and the owner will get along.
I think that's the key reason why. He needs to go to a team where the owner will let him do whatever they want.
It won't be Dallas, and it won't be the Jets.
No.
I don't think Rodgers can. I know we all back in the day said, "Oh, imagine if Rodgers had Belichick." Yeah, I don't think Rodgers, at least at this point in his career, can play for a guy like Bill Belichick.
No, not at all. Not
They
at
have
all.
respect for each other. Don't get me wrong. Like, they respect each other. They like each other. But Belichick's different when he's coaching you.
Yeah.
When he has
I
space
don't
from
think
you, it's different. But when he's coaching you, he's too hard on you.
I would love to see Aaron Rodgers shove Bill Belichick on the sideline, though.
Bill would beat his ass, dude.
That would be funny.
No, I mean, it's an interesting opportunity. Like, all these coaching spots are going to open up. I think we're like, we normally get like 5 or 6 every year. It seems like definitely going to be some teams out there like the Eagles, Cowboys. Got to keep an eye on Giants. Maybe that's another one. Maybe Dayball gets fired during the season.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right, you ready, dude? You ready for your
Nope.
time?
Switching over. I personally think that college football was
No, that's fine.
way more entertaining this weekend than NFL was.
I hope Chase and Colin are watching right now. So we're starting off with the game of the week. The Ohio State Buckeyes, who were number 2. Keywords were, and then number 2. Now number 4. Travel to Eugene, Oregon to face the Oregon Ducks, who were number 3. Now number 2. The Ducks end up pulling it off, Chris, 33-32. Back and forth game all day, all night long out there. And Ohio State looked good on, 32-31. 32-31. Oregon over there, over the Ohio State Buckeyes. Dylan Gabriel looked amazing. The run game looked amazing for the Ducks. Will Howard, I thought, played a pretty good game.
Both offenses looked amazing.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going to say, man, I give props to Oregon. I wish I would have picked them in the pick'ems I do. I said they were going to beat them, and I don't know why I changed it. Before the season, I had Oregon winning. Oregon made me realize, okay, maybe now they can finally win big games. We've always doubted them. You're playing Ohio State, a $21 million roster, and
Hey,
best
that
talent.
$21 million roster, that's just Twitter news. That's just Twitter news.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's been reporting it. I mean, Pat McAfee reported it last week. It's at least $20 million, I think Pat was saying. But the defense, I still think, is pretty good. It's pretty solid. But, yes, you played Oregon. And I get it. You're going to have high-scoring games. Georgia and Alabama were high-scoring. But your defense was supposed to be good, and you did play your first-ranked team in Ohio State. Ohio State did. And Ohio State, they couldn't live up to it. Now, again, they're probably going to be the 2 teams that play each other, Chris. But this was a great game. I thought both teams looked amazing, honestly.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a great game. I mean, the big question coming out of it is what's Ohio going to do with Day? I mean, like, he keeps proving that he can't win these big games that matter. He has the roster. He asked for money. He has the NIL, and he just can't win these big games. I mean, you posted he's what, like 0-5 right now in top 5 matchups.
He's 0-4 in his last. Let me put some context into it. So Ryan Day, the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, is 0-4 his last 4 games against top 5 opponents. That goes back to November 26, where he lost 45-23 against Michigan. He lost in the semifinals that same season against Georgia, 42-41, missed field goal that could have won the game. Then he lost last year against Michigan, 30-24, and then past week, 32-31 against Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Like, there's a big question mark behind Day. Like, yeah, they're competitive every year, but
competitive only takes you so far. This is Ohio State. They expect to win. They expect winning championships. They expect you're going to make the playoffs on the 12-man. If Ohio State can't make a 12-man playoff, yeah, coach should be fired immediately. I think they make the 12-man. To be honest, I still think that they win the Big Ten. I think that they're going to both win out, and they'll play each other in Indiana, and Ohio State will win. Oregon will probably be like the 5 seed or 6 seed, whatever, and Ohio State gets one of the top 4 seeds. But, hey, I'm going to say, dude, and if Dan Lanning pulled that 12-man on purpose, I don't think – I saw the clip he said. I think he just said that to say it. But if he did, man, good on him. Way to be smart. Way to fucking play the system.
That's big. That's big.
said he took the timeout and then he put 12 men on the field on purpose because the clock runs no matter what. It's not a pre-snap penalty. It's not like a false start. So they have to run the play, waste of time, and then Will Howard did his thing, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, Will Howard literally had no IQ, and he just ran and slid.
Try call timeout with no time.
Yeah, you can't call a timeout when there's 3 zeros on the time clock.
Well, that
Just
is your
can't do it.
timeout. You have time now.
That is game over.
Yeah, and that's when the fans start running on the field.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they stormed the field.
They did storm the field. Good for them, though.
Do you think, though, that Ohio State is going to win out? Do you think Oregon's going to continue their momentum?
Dude, I honestly believe they're going to have a rough game with Penn State. At Penn State. I don't know if that's their whiteout game.
That's going to be no, Penn State did a whiteout game.
Did they already do their whiteout game?
Yeah, they did it. They did it against, if I'm not mistaken.
Because, I mean,
Illinois. They did it against Illinois.
Yeah. I mean, you know that they're going to win against Nebraska next week. Or do they have an off week?
Yeah, they have an off week. They play Nebraska the 26th.
Okay, so you know they're going to win against Nebraska.
Dude, imagine if Mini Mahomes pulls that off, dude.
That would be crazy. I'm checking right now. Penn State plays Wisconsin.
You talk Penn State schedule?
Yeah, Penn State plays Wisconsin. So you know they're both going to win the next game. So you're going to get another top 5 matchup with Ohio State and Penn State.
It's probably going to be called game day too. Man, I really hope that the big noon kickoff doesn't take it because I'm going to be actually, fuck it. Make it the noon kickoff because I'm going to be in South Carolina that night for the game. So make that big noon kickoff. I actually want to watch that.
No way. They're 100%. That's 100% going to be.
I think it's going to be big noon kickoff. I think Fox takes it.
You think so?
I mean, Fox for some reason gets the weird dibs on shit. It's irritating because, like I said, Michigan Texas was a big noon kickoff. Not saying Michigan is good, but that's a marquee name. You know, that sells. I even said to you guys, I think next year when Ohio State and Texas plays, don't get me wrong, it's probably going to be college game day, but I guarantee it, Fox is going to get the big noon kickoff out of that because it's the Big Ten.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they have a tough game against Penn State. That's all I know. So
still got to play Indiana too at the end of the year, right before Michigan. And Indiana's, I mean, they are 6-0.
Yeah, and I know Michigan's Michigan right now, but that's bad blood right there. Anything could happen.
How was Gage? How was his mindset as an Ohio State fan during the game and right after the game?
Dude, Gage was belligerent. He was drunk. He didn't care.
Okay, never mind.
He wasn't. He was drinking, partying, dancing.
It wasn't stressful. He wasn't feeling the stress. I mean, he was pretty loud the next morning when I actually gave props. I was like, hey, good game. And then he's like, yeah, Quinn Ewers' worst SEC quarterback. I was like, yo, what are we talking here? I was like, what are we talking about?
He just wanted to ruffle some feathers.
Oregon too, man. They have a pretty. I mean, they got Michigan, Illinois, and Michigan. Hey, but watch out for Purdue. They are a trap game waiting to happen.
That is a trap game waiting to happen. They do. Unfortunately, though, Purdue doesn't look as good as they usually do. And I think their third string quarterback is starting this week.
Yeah, Purdue's a mess. But everyone keeps saying, yeah, you know, I mean, Purdue, they have a history of doing this. Yeah, I don't think against Oregon.
I don't think this year. I don't think this year.
So I can see Oregon going 12-0, and I can see Ohio State. You think Penn State is going to be tough? That's an interesting scenario. I mean, I guess if Penn State loses to Ohio State and that's all their only losses, then Penn State can't make the Big Ten championship if Oregon wins out, obviously, too. So there'd be that three-race team right there. Well, two-race team would be Ohio State and Oregon again.
Yeah. Before you change topics, though, I saw an interesting. Oh, Jesus, Mark!
I dropped my phone. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, you know, I was just diving into Reddit, you know, before I went to bed. Somebody posted a interesting comment, and they said a little coach carousel, and it's if Ohio State ends up not winning anything this year, they fire Day. Lane goes to Florida. Day goes to Ole Miss, and then Mike Vrabel comes to Ohio.
Does Ryan Day have connections to Ole Miss? Like, is it just because they're hot right now? Like,
I think Ole Miss is just going to throw a bag at him if they fire him.
well, do you want to talk about Ole Miss? That could be the next topic we can lean into.
We digged right into it. Perfect transition.
Ole Miss now sitting on the season with 2 losses. They lost to you guys. They did lose earlier in the year. I forgot who they lost to the first game, but Kentucky. So now they are sitting at they're sitting right now literally at 5-2. 2 conference losses.
So,
are they done? Like playoff? I mean, they're not winning the SEC, but are they done for the playoff race?
Yeah. So I mean, the big thing, I watched y'all show the preview show last week, and you and Luke were talking about it. I mean, the big thing, like y'all were talking about LSU and Ole Miss, and whoever loses this, like the playoff race, are they done? I mean, the big thing with Ole Miss is they have 2 conference losses. And now in the SEC, it's not, oh, you can have some conference losses, but you just have to win the West or the East. It's the 2 best teams in the SEC. Yeah. So, I mean, 2 conference losses crushes Ole Miss right now. And the fact that their hardest part of their schedule isn't even here yet is huge. I mean, they still play Georgia.
I told Luke it was more of a must-win for Ole Miss than LSU. Yep. LSU, one loss for LSU can still save the season because Ole Miss is difficult schedule, like you're about to say right now.
Yeah, they still play Georgia, they play Arkansas in Arkansas, and they play Florida in the Swamp. And I know we shit on Florida, but I mean, Florida's been playing some competitive ball recently.
If Mertz would have finished that game, they would have beat Tennessee. And I don't even like Graham Mertz, but Graham Mertz was playing good.
Well, I don't know. I think I saw some news article today come up. I don't know if it's true or not, but they were saying that they were talking about going for 2 at the very end of the game. They should have. I mean, you had no reason to be in that game to start. You should have just went for the kill shot.
I mean, yeah, we're going to talk about Tennessee in a minute, but
yeah. I mean, back to Ole Miss. I mean, I think, hey, they have a tough road ahead of them. If they do want to at least make a buy-in, I don't think they're going to win the SEC. I don't think they're going to be in the SEC championship game. A lot of stuff would have to happen for that to happen. And then going to Lane Kiffin, I mean, Lane Kiffin asked for so much. I mean, he asked for NIL. I forgot. I was reading it today. I forgot what their NIL foundation's called, but their NIL foundation, like, I think there's top 5 NIL foundation. So, I mean, they put up money. They gave him all the money to hire all the coordinators he wants, got all the players he wants. And this is probably the most talented roster they have this year.
Oh, ever, yeah, I agree.
At Ole Miss. So, I mean, just something about it doesn't make sense. So, I mean, like, that's the big thing about, like, Florida is, like, what could Florida give that Ole Miss isn't giving him? Because they're giving him everything now. And look at what he's doing. The other thing I made a comment earlier in Discord about how, like, Lane Kiffin's guru offense is disappearing, which is true. I mean, I don't know what Blake Baker, LSU's defensive coordinator, did over the bye week on researching, but Blake Baker knew pretty much everything Lane Kiffin was doing. If you read some of the game, you could see that the corners were leaving certain wide receivers wide open because they knew that Dart wasn't going to them. Like, it was telling that they read Lane Kiffin's offense.
And you've been teasing it, Chris. It's there now. You've been teasing this for you and Luke have been teasing it off air for a couple weeks now.
About what?
Lane Kiffin to the Florida Gators.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, Ole Miss took a dump last year when the rumors started coming around about Florida Gators. Lane Kiffin took a dump this year when the rumors started. I mean, it's time.
Can you see him taking the money and leaving Ole Miss and going down to the Swamp if they move on from Billy?
Maybe. I mean, I think I could maybe see it.
God,
I
that'd
mean,
be
the big
wild.
it would be wild. The big thing about it too is like recruiting standpoint. You have to think of like your Ohio State, your LSU. Like some of these colleges are huge because there's no other Power Four schools around them.
Yeah.
Like you got to think LSU's the biggest school in Louisiana, Ohio's the biggest school in Ohio. Like when you go and I mean, Old Miss has Mississippi State to compete with, which like
And they haven't
state's
been
going
good
to
in a
take.
couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, state's going to take some recruits, but like, are they really taking some recruits? When you move to Florida, you have Miami, you have FSU that you have to compete
Oh,
against,
you also
and
the out of state schools too, because Florida is one of the 4 5 the 4 biggest high school talent when it comes to recruits.
yeah, so I mean, you're going to have to start competing big time on recruits. Like, you're not going to have your prize picks of Mississippi players.
I think that if he does go to UF, I think it does hurt like the Alabamas, the Texases, the Ohio States, whoever recruits inside of the state of Florida that's outside. And then, of course, Florida State, Miami, UCF, now that they're a Power Four school, it hurts them too because Ole Miss, like you said, he's that offensive coach, right? Now, it might be wearing out in Ole Miss, but if he comes to UF, those Florida kids might be like, damn, dude, UF's right up the road. They're right. They're not that far. Maybe let's go play for him, especially offensive minded players. That kind of like how Sarkisian's getting a lot of guys that are buying in because of his philosophy on offense. I think I can see Lane Kiffin doing the same thing if he decides to go to the Gators and decide to hire him as a coach.
Well, I mean, the big thing, like I already mentioned, like, is Lane Kiffin's offensive mind over. I mean, like, the defenses are catching up with him, and a prime example of it is Mike Leach's air raid offense. I mean, rest in peace, Mike Leach, huge, like like literally built
Yeah.
groundbreaking work for the air raid offense. But the defenses started catching up with it, where then it wasn't as great as it used to be. And I think that's what's happening right now, and we're seeing it with Lane Kiffin's offense.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see it. I don't know. I mean, I know Lane didn't take the Alabama job. Maybe he should have. Maybe he
I
should
mean,
have gone.
was he even offered it?
Well, every
Like,
name somehow got brought. That's what I'm saying. Every name was brought up into it. That's the thing.
yeah, but we don't know what happened behind doors of the Alabamas. Like, I'm sure Nick Saban probably had some say in it as well.
Well, I
So,
mean, all the names were out there. It was, I think, Dabo was in there. I think even Mario Cristobal was up in there. You had Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian was involved. Um, I don't know if I think maybe even Day got involved in there. Not sure if Lincoln Riley. I know all the big names were part of. I mean, even the Florida State coach Mike Norvell was even. I remember his name was popping around for the Alabama head coaching
he
job.
he should have took that one.
Florida State's probably hoping that they did. They're probably thinking now they did. But Chris, we're talking though that game still. LSU had a. I still a massive. It's not just Ole Miss choking and folding. LSU had that's a massive win. You guys are unbeaten. You're tied for second in the SEC because both our schools have only played 2 conference games compared to A&M's who played 3. So this is a massive win. This could jumpstart you guys back. And I think it does calm that little Brian Kelly's on the hot seat conversation that Luke likes to poke at off air too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge win for Brian Kelly. It was a huge win for LSU, not only for this year, but it was a huge win for recruiting. I mean, we had a 4-star safety commit right before the game. I can't think of his name right now, but the 5-star, the number 2 wide receiver that's committed to Alabama right now, he was there. He had fun apparently. I mean, there were some big recruits. Um, I think like the number 1 offensive lineman for next year for 26, not 25 was there. I mean, it was huge for recruiting. Um, but just game perspective, I mean, Death Valley, it lived up to be what it was. I mean, they're like 110 and 19 when they play under the lights in Death Valley.
Yeah.
So like just
You
crazy. And
guys
you have to
gotta
think,
play night games
and
from now on.
yeah, and I think Alabama and Nick Saban was like 8 of those losses. So like you take those 8 losses out, like it's very hard to win in Death Valley at night. So I think that was huge. I mean, won't take all of it. I mean, Ole Miss definitely played a shitty game. So we had some breaks, but Blake Baker had the defense riled up, shutting down the number 2 offense. So, I mean, it was huge for them. The defense
And
finally showed up.
your offense still did enough, even though, like you said, you had some injuries at the wide receiver position too. So the fact that your offense was able to make the key plays, I feel like a lot of times they shot themselves in the foot too. They were changing, they had opportunity after opportunity, and they still couldn't cash in. But hey, you did at the end of the game. That's what matters. I mean, you
Yeah, I
guys
mean,
won. I think it's still big for you guys. Like I said, now number 8. I don't care how Ole Miss played. For you guys though, it's massive. It's huge. It's what you needed.
yeah, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier, SEC Offensive Player of the Week. I think he definitely did not play his great game. I mean, there was a lot of throws he missed that he should have completed on. There was that like dumb interception he had. I mean, both of his interceptions were stupid. But I mean, he did what he had to do to win. I mean, at the last drive, he converted 2 fourth downs, one being a 4th and 5, and he fitted into a wide receiver with 2 guys on him for a touchdown. I mean, it was huge.
No, yeah, big win for you. Also, won me my weekly pick'ems because I picked LSU and the other guy chose Ole Miss. So took me at one
It was a
point or
smart choice.
one.
It was a
Yeah.
smart choice. Smart
When you
choice.
said 3 receivers are out, I said fuck it. I'm riding with the Tigers.
Hey,
Go X
also
Tigers.
go Tigers. Also, with Brian Kelly on the hot seat, he is 13-0 when he plays under the lights.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I didn't agree with when that whole topic was going on with Luke. I never agreed with him. I was like, it's one loss. I get USC's not doing good right now, but hey, it's one loss. You guys are moving on, and you guys control your destiny in the SEC. You guys went out. You're in the SEC championship.
I'm
Just play
just
in them.
look. I know. I'm just saying right now, if LSU somehow squeaks by and wins these next 2 road games at Arkansas, at Texas A&M, that Alabama game at night is going to be fucking
Wait a minute.
massive.
You're at Arkansas.
Yeah.
How the fuck did Arkansas get all these home games? They got Tennessee at home, LSU at home, and Texas at home.
I don't know. I don't make the schedule, but
Yeah.
if they somehow go 2-0 on these next 2 road games, that Alabama game is going to be fucking huge.
Well, is the Alabama game going to be huge, Chris? Because that's the next topic. They continue to struggle. They're winning, but they obviously lost to Vanderbilt. They nearly blew that Georgia game. They won. And then they squeaked by 2 points against the South Carolina Gamecocks, where they allowed an onside kick too, Chris. That gave them a chance, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, another prime example of the Gamecocks fucking fumbling another win away. I mean, they had one at LSU they should have won. They had this game they should have won. And you're talking about a team that all they want to do is run the ball with South Carolina. All they want to do is run the ball, and Alabama struggled again. The defense is so generic, and I've seen people talk about it the past 2 weeks. It's rough over there.
Yeah, I mean, they played Georgia tough the first quarter, the first half, and like you said, they can't stop the run. Vanderbilt ate them up and in the running side, or with them running the ball. And South Carolina, they were doing a good job. I felt like you said, South Carolina beat themselves. They had opportunities to win that game. I work with South Carolina fans, and they said the same thing. They missed a lot of throws. They missed just careless with the fumbles as well. I mean, defense, some breakaway plays, but the offensive lineman catching the ball, wasting 15 seconds. I get it. In the heat of the moment, you see a ball in the air, you catch it. Next time, bat it down like Jake Matthews did it for the Falcons. Just bat that shit down. Save the clock. You're not going nowhere at 300 plus pounds. You're a big offensive lineman.
No, exactly. And I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff through the grapevine these past 2 weeks about how Kalen DeBoer is a player's coach, and that's not what people are used to in Tuscaloosa. They're not, and they're not going to back up a player's coach.
Nick Saban was a player's coach too, but it was also mentality of winning. Like,
Oh, Nick Saban, if you fucked up, you were
Oh,
off
he'll
the
let you
field.
know. Yeah. Oh, he'll
Yeah.
let you know. He
I
can have
mean,
fun, but he
yeah. I mean, I sent that one picture, I think I don't know if it was in Discord or if it was just, um, our group chat, but it was like Nick Saban pissed off on the sideline when they were up 30 points, and then there's Kalen DeBoer smiling after the game, barely beating an unranked South Carolina team in
oh yeah.
Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
In Tuscaloosa.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't know what I mean, well, I mean, that's not. I mean, that's not sugarcoated. I mean, we said that Alabama was going to struggle this year. I mean, I had them at 10-2 and barely missing the playoffs, but I didn't think one of the losses was going to be Vanderbilt, and I didn't think they were going to struggle against South Carolina. I thought Georgia they would lose to, and I thought, uh, I think it was Tennessee. I did have them losing in Tennessee. We're going to talk about them next. I mean, both teams had to play each other. We're going to talk tomorrow. This will be one of the games to talk about, but both teams need it, and I don't know, man. Jalen Milrose coming back to reality a little bit here. I guess I get the freshman Jeremiah Smith. He's balling, but this team just looks out of sorts. They look like what we expected, and I know they had high hopes from the Alabama faithful and college faithful as well. A lot of them had Alabama still being Alabama, but Chris, they might lose recruits if they keep fucking around.
I mean, it's gonna be hard for Alabama to lose recruits just because it's Alabama,
It is, but
but I think Kalen DeBoer, I know he just got hired, but I feel like he is probably on a very short leash where,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if yeah, he's 5-1 right now, but let's see.
Well, he's on a short leash, Chris, before you say that schedule is because unlike a lot of coaches that take over teams, he's taking over a team that was already built, already ready to compete. I get it. You still have to weed out some of the old stuff and bring in your stuff, but for the most part, you have superstar talent. It's not like you got some scrubs. You have superstar talent on your team.
Yeah, I mean, and that was a good point that I brought up against when I was talking to Luke about it, when we were all talking about did Alabama take a step back? And I'm saying Alabama is struggling with these games with a Nick Saban team. Like all these players are Nick Saban players.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have onesies and twosies that left and came back in, but 90% of this roster is Nick Saban.
Oh
90% of
yeah.
this roster has been coached by Nick Saban, knows what Nick Saban football is. And let's not forget, Nick Saban's in the building. He's there. He's collecting a $400,000 paycheck every year
Good for him.
to sit in an office, you know?
Good for
Like he's
him.
there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they still you play Tennessee at Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee did struggle, but we'll see what they do. You still play Missouri, you still play LSU, and then rivalry game you play Auburn, which we say, I mean, that game could go
Uh,
any way.
Iron Bowl is a different
E-
game.
Exactly. And I'm not even going to count Oklahoma because they suck.
Well, Chris, you mentioned the team that they're playing next week, Tennessee. And I know Alan's going to be listening. He's going to be watching. Did I spell Tennessee right? Yeah, right.
You're the
They're
only 10
struggling.
I see.
Yeah, they're struggling too. They went from number 8 to number 11. They went down 3 spots. They did squeak by the Florida Gators in overtime, and they did lose to Arkansas the week before. I get they had these big wins against Chattanooga and NC State and blah blah blah. All the trash teams. I get NC State was ranked, but NC State's not good. Let's just be
NC
honest. They're not
State's
good.
not ranked anymore.
They're not good to hype saying we beat these teams. I get you did your job, but the quarterback Nico has come back to earth a little bit. The run game is phenomenal in Tennessee, but the quarterback doesn't look as promising. Defense looks good, but what happens
Yeah,
when you play these?
Dylan Sampson's fucking
Yeah, he
disgusting.
is. But what are you going to – is the defense really going to thrive when they play Alabama this week? Are they going to thrive if they don't play Texas? I mean, they play Georgia. So are they going to thrive when they play Georgia and Alabama this year where those offenses can move the ball? We haven't seen them play against a good offense. Honestly, we haven't.
No, I mean that's what's rough about the early part of the season is because you play these small schools and you put up these huge numbers, and that's because of just the talent difference. Like the talent between Tennessee and Chattanooga is just outstanding. Like NFL playing Pop Warner schools, you know?
Even NC State, the talent is it's a pretty good gap too.
No, agreed. I mean, I'm definitely going to be rooting for Tennessee this weekend. No doubt.
I don't care who wins. I said Allen has talked the most in college. For a guy that doesn't watch as much college, he's been the loudest. And then he kind of walked it back. He's like, well, I knew we always lose a game somewhere. It's what we do. We're not. So he kind of like walked it back a little bit, and I didn't like that because all that
He was just
talking
following the hype. Remember, he was just following the hype.
Shout out to Allen. His team is still in the top 11. So hey, Tennessee's still there. Big
top
game
15,
this week.
Make it sound better.
Top 15. But it's not that I hate Allen, but it's about how loud you've been. I mean, I haven't even been loud. I haven't been loud at all. I mean, I've actually probably been one of the quietest fans in the chat. I mean, I still say, we're doing good, or I critique my team, and I haven't really been shit talking a lot of teams, honestly. I haven't even shit talked UCF really that much this year. I've been pretty quiet. So but Allen's been pretty chirpy. So, but I hate Alabama too. So it's like, I don't give a shit who wins.
No, I mean, Tennessee has a rough road ahead of them too. I mean, Alabama, Kentucky, hey, I mean, they're a little underdog team right there.
Georgia.
You still play Georgia, and then you end the game in Vanderbilt.
Vandy, man, better watch out.
They just beat Kentucky. So
beat Alabama.
They beat Alabama.
Luke's potentially calling for them to beat Texas.
Vanderbilt?
That's what Luke was kind of saying.
Is it in Austin?
No,
or
it's in Vandy.
Hey, that would be, dude. That would be huge.
When's that game? I might. Oh, it's the 26th. Never mind. No, it's 20. I'll be in Florida that day. I'm traveling that day to Florida. Otherwise, if it was November 2nd, instead of going to South Carolina, I would have drove to Nashville and hung out with Luke and gone to that game. But
good.
Tennessee is struggling. We're gonna talk this game tomorrow, like you said, Chris. Not much to talk about. We said off air. Not much to talk about when it comes to the weekend. But hey, last topic: the Red River rivalry. I mean, we're not gonna talk too much into it. It's more the performance we're gonna talk about. But hey, Texas won 34-3. Chris, I don't give a shit if Oklahoma's got no offense. When you put your rival in the ground like that, it's always a good day.
Nope, it was a great day. Texas did what they had to do. Oklahoma looks rough. True freshman quarterback. No top 5 wide receivers. They did keep the game interesting in the first quarter.
Just to say, Quinn was still warming up. He was still getting.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he got all the dust off because we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But
we can talk about his performance real quick. I mean, but
I was just saying, like, big game formed next week. But I mean, he looked a little rough to start that Oklahoma game.
He said he wasn't as confident in practice, that it just didn't feel as comfortable as it's always been. I mean, he hasn't played a month. I mean, he hasn't played in literally, it was a month time frame. And they're like, well, I get it. Everyone, like, I think Luke said it. People in my office said it. Like, oh, he still practices. Yeah, practice speed and game speed are two different things. Getting hit in the game and having a red shirt on or whatever color shirt that Texas puts their quarterback on is completely different than the game. You know you're not going to get hit. It's the fear factor. He missed the open throw to Bond. He missed the interception. He overthrew the receiver. Yeah, he had some overthrows, but that's where the rhythm comes back. And it was a good game to get the rust off. But hey, the run game had 177 rushing yards, something that we didn't really see with Arch Manning. That's the difference between Chris, too, is where I hate the whole comparison because they're two different style quarterbacks. Teams prepare for Quinn different than they prepare for Arch. Quinn, they force the running game to beat you, and they force Manning or Ewers to make tougher throws. Arch, it's more one-on-one looks. They stack the box to stop the run.
Yeah, it's gonna be a huge game.
It's gonna be loud
next week. UGA is the underdog. I think I saw it was like the first game in 58 games that they were the underdog
right now.
Yep. And ESPN has Texas winning by 76.4%. So it's gonna be a good game.
Kirby's what, 0-5 on the road against top 5 teams? I think that.
Yeah, I think we said that the other day or something like that. Something crazy.
5-5, I think it's top 25 or something like that. But I said it. what I say, I think he's coming into Bama. I think I said the same thing. This is like going into Tuscaloosa. It was Carson Beck and even Georgia. The last couple of years, this is not to take anything away from the Georgia Bulldogs. The last couple of years, starting 2021, they haven't had a true. I get they play in the SEC and you play tough teams on the road like Kentucky and all like these teams that give you troubles, but you haven't gone into like a top 5, top 10 school into their campus and played them at night, during the day, whatever. Not saying anything like Georgia sucks or they would lose those games the last couple of years, but that's the truth. They haven't had to do it. Now, Alabama, they lost at night. They have to go to Austin this week. So it's going to be big for Carson Beck. It's going to be big to show if he can compete on the road. And it's going to be big for Quinn Ewers if he can compete against the SEC's best the last few years too, which we're going to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, just make sure you call Texas up, call Sark, and tell him, hey, do not let Ewers on the sideline of Georgia.
I'm not worried, and I'm not doing this as a cop out. But even if we lose, Chris, like if it's a close loss, if it's a blowout, okay, it's gonna be loud. But if it's a close loss and you say, well, Quinn can't beat Georgia, and it's like a 6-point game, who gives a shit? Like, I mean, I want to win, but like you're really gonna knock us for losing to Georgia by 6 points, or whatever? Like you can't really talk much shit.
Well, I was just mostly talking about like Quinn going on Georgia's sideline because Kirby Smart might take him out.
Oh yeah, true. They are.
So you got to be careful. Tell your quarterback if he's going to the sideline to just slide and stay in bounds.
Well, Quinn doesn't run as much, so that's a good thing.
Because Kirby Smart will fucking take him out.
No, I can't wait to talk about this game tomorrow. Like I said, it's going to be one of the couple games to talk about. Did you want to talk about Penn State or Georgia? I mean, in general, I was going to say Georgia's defense, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with their defense. They just look lost, man. Like, the defense looks weird. Mississippi State, they give up, 31 points?
Yeah, no. I mean, Mississippi State looked good, and that's bad because Mississippi State is bottom tier school in all of college football right now. Mississippi State's not looking good. They put up 31 points on them. Yeah, I mean, the defense doesn't look great, and frankly, the offense doesn't look great.
You don't think so? I think the offense looks fine. I don't. Maybe it's just me. The run game looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're number 2 running backs out this week.
Oh, Etienne.
So it'll be Etienne as number 1, but apparently their number 2 was like the best pass pro. So I think that might be a big hit for them.
And Texas can rush the passer, so I can't wait to talk about this game tomorrow because like we're only gonna really talk about 2 college games, and there's storylines here. There's things to talk about with these 2 teams.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough weekend because we go from such a great college football weekend. Like week 1, everybody was like, circle this weekend. This weekend's gonna be great, and it lived up to be it. And now we go to a weekend where it's 2 games that are really interesting to watch.
Last time we said that, Vanderbilt beat Alabama, and that whole weekend was pretty good.
That's true.
Arkansas beat Tennessee. So hey, I mean, maybe we get some special games out there during the day.
Well, hopefully, as long as it's not LSU and Arkansas, and LSU goes and handles business.
I can see that being a good game.
Everybody else can do what they want.
I know you have stuff going on tonight, but did you want to talk Penn State, or are we good with?
I mean, I only watched a little bit of the Penn State game, but I mean, USC went up big, and Penn State fought their way back.
They were close to doing a typical Penn State thing and losing a game that they should not lose. They always find one. Yeah,
I mean, like I said, I didn't watch too much of it to talk about it, but I was definitely watching the score of it.
Down 20-6 at one point, and I think they won. I think it was 23-20 in overtime. So big win for James Franklin and the boys. So
big win. I don't know what they're going to do with him because I feel like it's always they're top ranked and then they fall apart at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they're number 3 right now. They are thriving right now. I think it's the highest I've seen Penn State in a long time.
Well, big game against OSU. So, I mean, that will definitely be
got to survive Wisconsin first. So,
Goddard, yep. Should we talk about Cam Rising going for a 9th year?
Dude, I think it's an 8th year.
I thought this was his 8th year.
No, it's the 7th year. The Miami Titans on his 9th year right now. We were talking about this today. It's a joke, dude. Like, what do you think some NFL team's gonna pick you up in 2 years?
Well, I think he knows his career's over. I saw somewhere that he should have been out the game when he got injured, but he told the coach, "Let me finish my last college game." And that's why he stayed in after the injury.
If this man plays another season, Graham Mertz needs to sit here and say, "I'm playing another season."
Graham Mertz might play another season. Who knows?
Well, everyone kept saying rest in peace his college career, so it sounded like everyone said he was done. I know.
Well, he's definitely not going back. He's definitely not going back to Florida.
Oh, that was given after this year. It was going to be DJ. That's going to be the Lagway show. I would excited to see that, to be honest. That's why the Lane Kiffin thing, like you mentioned, that could be good. It could be fun to watch with DJ and Lane. But Chris, tomorrow's gonna be fun, man. But we have some good NFL games this week, man. We have an ESPN Plus game, by the way, on Monday Night Football.
Do we really?
Dumbest fucking thing ever, man.
Who's literally on ESPN Plus?
So it's 2 Monday games. We have the first game, Bucks and Ravens in Tampa, and then Cardinals and Chargers. I believe, I don't remember which stadium it's in, but
ESPN
that's
Plus.
ESPN. That's ESPN exclusively on ESPN.
It's in Arizona.
So I'll be using.
Don't say it.
Oh no, I'll be using a streaming service.
Yeah, ESPN the streaming service of ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the game's not a good game. Like, I could give a fuck about watching the Chargers and Cardinals.
Well, I've been Dynasty. I have Trey McBride, so I got to pay somewhat attention to it.
Yeah, that'll be up on my fucking Bleacher Report.
No, but Chris, I can't wait to be here tomorrow. Like I said, we're gonna have some games to preview. We have some fuck yeah, baby. Aaron Judge 3-run home run, getting off the fucking schneid a little bit here. Yankees up 6-2. Chris, game 2 of the ALCS right now. I know we haven't talked much baseball, but hey, Dodgers Mets are 1-1. Yankees are up 1-0. Potentially 2 after tonight's game.
Potentially.
All right for the Judge. But Chris, we're gonna get out of here tomorrow. I'm not sure who's in. I couldn't tell you who's in. It's hard sometimes.
30 minutes before.
Yeah. I called Tony. He's like, dude, where's the heads up? I was like, blame the squad, boy. I can't fucking tell you, man. Like, I did a fucking solo show. I don't know, last week or week before that. So shit's rough. By the way, that shit's rough. Solo show, not fun. Not fun. Not fun at all. No.
Had to do a lot of work.
Well, it's not. It's if there's no interaction with people, it's tough. I got some interaction, but it wasn't enough. But Chris, we're going back here tomorrow, like I said, to preview these games, talk a little college football. I think you even wanted to maybe potentially look back at our college football playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we're halfway through the season. I think it'd be a great time to pull up the old predictions for the playoffs and see where we all stand, because I'm sure we're all fucked on FSU.
I think a lot of teams have played six games, roughly.
Yeah, we're officially halfway through.
Yeah, I think I had Miami in the ACC championship. I'm sorry, it was a 2-run. Sorry, it's a 2-run home run, not 3-run home run. I'm sorry. Apologize for that.
I think I'm doing pretty good, because I think I had Texas winning the SEC. I had Clemson. I had Clemson winning ACC, which I think they could still do.
They could still.
I think it's very doable to beat Miami. I had Oregon winning. Oh, look at that! I had Oregon winning Big Ten. I don't know who I had winning. I think I had Utah winning. No, who did I have winning Big 12?
Oklahoma State.
Oh yeah, that's not.
And you had Georgia. You had Georgia winning the SEC.
Did I have Georgia winning the SEC? It
says Georgia's number 1 on my.
I'm stupid.
I had Georgia winning the SEC as well, but I don't know if that happens because I had Texas winning the first game in Austin. I didn't think Georgia was going to lose Alabama, so I thought it was going to be Georgia plays Texas. Georgia's only loss was Texas, and then they avenged that in Atlanta. But if we beat Georgia, there's a chance that Georgia might not be in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Crazy could be LSU, Texas.
It would be an interesting game. Fingers crossed. I hope it is.
Would love to go to it, but I have my daughter in January, and then Luke's wedding's on top of that. So Yeah, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
But no,
I already
Chris,
went
tomorrow,
to one LSU SEC championship game.
saving the big
Went to
money
that
for
one.
Ohio State, Texas next year too.
Big
Hopefully
game we're going to.
my Vince Young jersey arrives. It's coming specially ordered. So
Specially ordered for that game.
yeah, I fucked up my address, so I had to like try and weasel my way and get my address changed. But Chris, back tomorrow night. It's gonna be fun. Hopefully, we have some more guys in here. We'll have our PowerPoint up for the picks. You did pretty good last week. Just a spoiler. I'm Mark Davis. That's Chris Gemeinhart. This is All About the Balls podcast. We are out. Good night.